Mike, you ready to get this going?
Let's get it going.
Our ring announcer for tonight is the one and only, the best out there, Lupe Contreras.
And we welcome you to Thunder Studios, Long Beach, California, and an evening of world-class professional boxing. Being presented to you by the fastest rising promotion in the industry, Dmgboxing, along with Top Rank Incorporated, and being sponsored by Fightbook. If you'd like to be considered for future DMG events, register at fightbook.com. Along with Happy Jewelers, Happy looks good on you. Drive it, Casa Mexico Tequila, Auténtico Corajillo, along with Torque Law representing the people, as well as Adams Boxing, the official brand of boxing this contest. Set for 10 rounds in the lightweight division, scoring at ringside. Our judges are Fernando Villarreal, Sergio Caiz, along with Jack Reese. Introducing first, the fighter standing in the blue corner. He enters the ring wearing the solid black trunks on the scale. He registered an official 132 pounds. In 18 bouts as a professional, he maintains a record of 13 victories. Against 4 losses, 1 bout even, 11 of those victories coming by way of knockout. Repping the DR Santa Plata, República Dominicana, El Coyote, Derlin Hernandez. His opposition across the ring in the red corner. Wearing white with gold trim, he weighed in at an identical 132 pounds tonight. This highly rated prospect puts it all on the line, including his undefeated record of 23 victories. 12 of those victories coming by way of KO. Fighting out of the fight capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada, Andres Cortez. With final instructions, referee Thomas Taylor.
Coach, on the other side, please. Okay, guys, real quick. We're going to the middle of the letters here. Up is going to be good. Middle of the waistband here is up is going to be good. You got my instructions in the back, gentlemen. Protect yourselves at all times. Listen to my commands. Touch them up. Back to your corner, guys.
Thomas Taylor's one of the best referees in the business right now.
Sean,
Fernando Villarreal, Sergio Caiz, and Jack Reese are your judges. In the corner of Andres Cortez, you have Luis Cortez, Rafa Garcia, and Sergio Caro. In the corner of the Dominican is Raul Rosado and Jose Rolon. We get going for 10 rounds of action. Our opening bout on DMG, Night of Champions 5 from Thunder Studios in Long Beach. Cortez in the white, 23-0. Mike, you've seen him around. He's in his late 20s now. This is a fighter who needs to get the opposition where he wants to be if he wants to move up in the rankings.
Absolutely, and I think this may not be that fight, but you always also want your guys to be able to stay busy. His opponent has lost 3 of his last 4. He actually got off to a really good start in his career. You just wonder if a guy's getting used to, I hate to say the word, but he's getting used to losing, even though he's fought some tough fights. He lost his last fight a few months ago to an undefeated prospect, and he's that guy they're bringing in for those kind of fights.
Yeah, he lost to Jacob Gomez in June, and before that he stopped Brian Chevalier, who was 21-2. But Andres Cortez, having watched him for a few years on the top ranked shows, moving his way up in the super featherweight division, he goes the distance, and as the competition has gotten better, he's been good quality work, but he's not knocking people out right away.
And that's kind of a misnomer too when people see that. The better the guys that you're fighting, they're not just going to lay down and fall down. And you even see that at the top levels, even in his early part of her career. A guy like Canelo Alvarez was stopping people, and later in their career, it kind of stops doing that as the competition gets better.
Top Rank does an amazing job of matching the prospects nicely, getting them quality opposition. They're not getting guys that are just laying down. And for Cortez, his last fighter, Jimenez, had 1 loss. He beat Abraham Nova, who had 2 losses. Brian Chevalier had 1. Xavier Martinez had 1 loss. Luis Melendez had 2 losses. Abraham Montoya had 3 losses. Not like he's fighting guys that are just cans, as they would say.
Absolutely, and the people responsible for that are sitting ringside. 2 Hall of Famers, legendary guys, and Bruce Champler and Brad Goodman.
Oh, Bruce is here now.
Yeah, okay. Bruce is here. He's sitting across from me, and I had a chance to chop it up with them a little bit. Always good to see them. And when you talk about Hall of Fame pedigree as fighters and trainers and managers, you got to look at those 2 guys, and they're largely to do with the development. A lot of these top-ranked guys going back 30 and 40 years.
Good opening round, good hook landed by Cortez. Overhand right just misses. Dominican is going to be tough in black.
You know he is, Beto, and I'm going to tell you what, he opens up, but the thing when he opens up, and like anybody will tell you, is when you open up, you leave yourself a little bit open to also get hit. And that's what I see early on. And Cortez is being very accurate. He's not a big puncher. You can tell that right away if you're around a professional boxing. He's not a huge puncher, but that doesn't mean the volume can't end up stopping somebody.
Yeah, rarely do you get the first bout of the night to be 10 rounders, but you know what you're going to get tonight, and it's a different kind of show. DMG giving the fans excitement off of the bat. Lorana Bell, our timekeeper, lets us know it's 10 seconds to go in the opening round. Good action back and forth between Cortez and Hernandez. I think Tom's microphone's supposed to be over the loudspeaker, but everybody knows it's round number 2. And with you, I'm glad you're here, Mike, because you've been around the sport for a lot of years. You see the young prospects, you see the kids making their debut. You work with everybody. And one of the things that you've taught me in the decade plus of knowing you is the activity for fighters, how important it is, right? Lindsay was even asking you, is it normal to see a guy fight 3-4 weeks after his second or third fight? You said absolutely. Why?
Well, when you got guys that are fighting in 4- and 6-round fights, you want to keep them busy every 2 to 3 months. As it starts to get over, they start to heat up, and Hernandez is really coming out smoking. You want that development, and also this is how they make a living. And if you don't work, you don't get paid. You don't get paid to be in the gym. And fighters want to fight, and I think it's good. A kid like Cortez at 23-0 with his record, after this fight, you can put him into a big fight. Now, granted, the competition is going to get a little bit stiffer, and he's got his hands full tonight. Because let me tell you something, Hernandez is coming out winging. There was no slow boil to him.
Yeah, both these fighters are used to being in the middle of the show, right before the main event. You're going to be the first one that's going to set the tone for the night. But what I want to get into, though, Mike, is we mentioned Top Rank and the business side. You work with all the promoters. Top Rank is known in the sport of boxing. They no longer have a TV deal. Their deal with ESPN is up, and they've been working with different promoters to put on their fighters. Like Oscar Valdez had his own show in Mexico. That was with a different promoter and a different entity. And great, they're going to have one on the 15th of November, also in Mexico, and fighters out there. I give credit to Top Rank and Bob Arum and his staff of keeping their fighters really active, because without that, it doesn't matter.
Well, what is their biggest commodity? Their biggest commodity is their fighters, just like a fighter's biggest commodity is his hands and protecting them. And what they're doing is they're doing a good job to keep these guys sharp. They don't want any of their fighters to be off for extended period of times. And Cortez looks like he stunned Hernandez a little bit. Hernandez is a very tough guy. What I really like to see Cortez do is not square up and maybe set his feet a little. If you notice when he punches, his feet aren't really set, and that may have something to do with his power. But he is very good at selecting the proper punches.
Yeah, watching film on Cortez getting ready for this show, you would see a fighter who's very technically sound and knows what he's doing, and a lot of ring generalship from him.
Yeah, and he's not what you call a quick twitch guy. He's going to be very workmanlike in there. His body reminds me of former world champion Brandon Rios.
That's a great call right there.
Without the thud on his punches, because as we all know, Bam Bam committed to everything.
Yeah, the Dominican, this is his style. He'll get rough with you. He'll be slick with you. He'll give you a lot of different looks. Tom Taylor right there saying, no, it wasn't a punch in the back. You went into that.
Gentlemen.
Coming up next will be Jesus Aguilar making his debut from Culiacan, Mexico, then Elvis Rodriguez. So those are first 3 bouts here on DMG Night of Champions 5.
And in true top-ranked form, I was taking a look at Cortez's record. He has fought some guys with some very respectable records. I'm not saying they were all undefeated, but they all had really good, solid records. Guys like 20-2, 19-3. And that's how you can find out what kind of development and what kind of product you have on a guy that you've signed. Hernandez has closed the gap a little bit. He looks like he wants to fight a little bit more inside, and a lot of that may have to do, Beto, with conditioning, because moving around the ring and getting moved from post to post takes a lot of energy. So it looks like right now he's content and staying very close as he lands a really good low blow. And he looks like he might be getting just a little bit fatigued, and that was a really good left hook downstairs by Cortez, and I like that.
Another body shot as Hernandez answers back, going upstairs. Cortez with the uppercut.
Pull the arm out. All right, stop. No punch, no punch. Straight back.
The right hand from Cortez. Body shot from Cortez. I'm liking the body work from Cortez, Mike.
I like it because that left hand is very educated, and he throws a good one upstairs. And as everybody knows, that when you go downstairs, it really opens things up upstairs, and that looks like that's what's happening right now. I'd like to see him really set his feet and dig in, because I think he's really walking through Hernandez's power right now, because Hernandez is in retreat. He will load up with an occasional big right hand or left hook, but Cortez is seeing that coming a mile away.
All right, stop.
And as I sit here, when you mention Top Rank, I like watching how intently a guy like Bruce Trampler is watching one of their Top Rank fighters, here at ringside for the first bout of the night.
Oh, good right hand from Cortez, stuns the Dominican, but he keeps on coming. Man, Derlin is tough.
Yeah, he's tougher than a $2 steak, but he's starting to leak a little bit of oil right now, and I think if Cortez just sticks to the fundamentals, I think he'll be able to get him out of there in a round or two.
Stop. Stop. Don't do it again. Understand? You all right? Do not use that head. Go. Let the arm stop.
And you hear that microphone going to the house so everybody in the house can hear Tom Taylor.
Absolutely. That's what a good referee does, though. He gives good, clear, concise instructions.
A little Morrissey for you on a Saturday night.
Yeah.
If you want to get in your feelings right now, and we're in the 4th round scheduled for 10. Cortez coming out strong and aggressive through 3 rounds. I like it.
Yes, I just want to see him use his jab a little more, but I think he's having so much success with that with his left half to the body and left hook to the head that he's really looking for. Oh, and he really stunned him right there.
There it is. The Dominican against the ropes, trying to hold on as Cortez stunning Derlin Hernandez here early in the 4th round. Against the ropes is Derlin trying to hold on. Cortez gets him away, lands an uppercut, lands another right shot. Big right hand from Cortez. Derlin's in trouble, and it is over. Andres Cortez gets a 4th round KO.
And that's what you want to do to start the evening out. You want to do that in spectacular fashion, and that's what he did. And hats off to the referee, because Thomas Taylor was right there, and he didn't even allow Hernandez to even fall to the canvas. He was right there to catch him and save him from himself.
That was impressive, Mike. Hear the highlights.
He got him on the ropes. It looks like he rushed him a little bit too soon earlier, because he kind of lost a little bit of form, and I would have liked to seen him keep a little better range, but when you're landing pretty much every punch, it's really hard to critique that. And that was a really good left hook upstairs. He threw the right hand. He kind of slumped to the ropes. You can see Thomas Taylor looking very intently. Hernandez, to his credit, is still firing. He's still dangerous. But in the end, it was just too much Andres Cortez, Beto.
His 13th stoppage. He set something early, and he jumped on Hernandez in that 4th round. He stunned him with the hook and then got him.
There was a lot of things that were working for him, and what I liked of what he did is he didn't really change that. He just kept going to what was working. He didn't try to outthink himself. He didn't try to get too cute.
Whenever Lupe Contreras is ready, he'll make it official.
Inside the DMG ring, a series of unanswered blows obligates referee Thomas Taylor to step in and call a halt to this contest with an official time of 40 seconds of round number 4, declaring the winner by KO and still undefeated, Andres Cortez.
Win number 24 for Andres, who'll get interviewed by Lindsay Payares in the ring. Lindsay grabbing Andres.
Andres, congratulations. You had a 4th round knockout to stay perfect, 24-0. How are you feeling right now? Andres, a 4th round knockout to improve to 24-0. How are you feeling right now?
I feel great. You know, I feel like $1 million man. I need some money fights.
What was the strategy entering in this one?
My strategy was just whoop ass, go in there, whoop ass, and, you know, go home with a pocket full of cash.
How important were those early body shots to really get you going?
I mean, I don't know. It's just, you know, it's my repetitiveness. I mean, this is what I do every day, so.
Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you.
Andres Cortez coming in. He wants some money fights there, Mike.
Yeah, well, when you fight money fights, the competition's going to go up, and there's a lot of guys. There's definitely a lot of guys at his weight class that will take those money fights, and I'm looking forward to seeing him again. I really am. And as you can see right there, as the action, and there's just too many left hooks. And Thomas Taylor, man, he's really a good referee.
No way you can miss him with that neon.
No, if we need some traffic control later on, if he makes this an early night, he can help somebody out in that parking lot.
Yeah, if the lights go out, we'll see him.
Continue with the action here at Thunder Studios, Long Beach, California, being presented by the fastest rising promotion in the industry, Dmgboxing. In association with Top Rank Incorporated, along with Fightbook. If you'd like to be considered for future DMG events, register at fightbook.com. Happy Jewelers. Happy looks good on you. Drive it. Along with Casa Mexico Tequila. Auténtico Corajillo. Along with Torque Law representing the people. And Adams Boxing, the official brand of boxing. This contest set for 6 rounds or less in the super welterweight division. Scoring the action ringside, our judges are Cristi Rosario, along with Ron Scott Stevens and Sergio Caiz. Presenting first, the fighter standing in the blue corner. He weighed in at an official 146.5 pounds tonight. This anytime, anywhere fighter accepts the challenge and takes on another undefeated prospect in his 35th professional bout. Fighting out of Phoenix, Arizona, El Salvador, Jose Marrufo. Across the ring in the red corner, wearing neon with black trim, he weighed in officially at 151.5 pounds tonight. This 20-year-old boxing phenom makes his U.S. debut and looks to remain undefeated as a professional with 7 victories. 6 of those victories coming by way of KO. Puro Culiacán, Sinaloa, Mexico, Jesus Pulpito Aguilar. Our referee, David Soliven.
Okay, fighters, I've given you instructions in the locker room. Expect a good, clean fight. Listen to my commands at all times. Protect yourselves at all times. This is going to be good right here. A little high here, so this is going to be good right here. Touch gloves. God bless you both.
David Sullivan, the third man in the ring. Cristi Rosario, Ron Scott Stevens, and Sergio Caiz are our judges as we get ready for our second bout of the night. This was scheduled for 6 rounds.
Listo.
All right, El Pulpo, 20 years old against the veteran Jose Marrufo. And this is Marrufo. He comes out rugged as can be.
You know, Jose Marrufo has actually derailed the undefeated records of about 4 guys along his 10-year plus career.
Yeah, Marrufo now living in Phoenix, from Agua Prieta, Sonora. The epitome of have gloves, will travel.
And you know what? Hats off to Lupe Contreras, because nobody says from Sinaloa, Mexico quite like Lupe.
Lupe is the best out there, man. Does a great job. For more on, and Marrufo, who's coming out, mouthpiece is out, and Marrufo swinging wild left and right. And the 20-year-old, welcome to the United States.
Yeah, and he's landing on Marufo, but he's got to be real careful because, you know, Marufo has danced this dance before.
This is what he does.
And it may not last long, but it's exciting so far.
And for more on Pulpo, here's Lindsay Payares.
Yeah, well, you can see on his shorts it says Pulpo Jr. That's because Pulpo's dad was a fighter. He started training with Panda at the age of 11. Panda's trainer says he's all action and fun, so the crowd is going to get a show right now.
Oh, we're getting that right now, Lindsay. Uppercuts from El Pulpo.
And both guys right now have not got out of the way of not one left hook.
No, his father fought a young Victor Ortiz.
Keep that mouthpiece in.
And yeah, this is a good battle for Marufo. Even Panda was telling me, look, we picked him for a reason. He's tough, he's rugged, and he's going to make you work. We don't want anybody just going to lay down.
Absolutely, and Pulpo really looks the part, but he's in tough right now. And I wonder how much resistance he's had. You know,
Zero. I'll tell you right now.
Yes, I looked at, but that was some really good left hooks to the body.
Those
right
body
there.
shots are nice. I asked Panda about that. He's like, look, he's turned pro is 18, 19. It's been very, very limited competition for a reason at that age, right? You're giving him the baby food.
Right. And Jose Marufo has not been fed baby food.
No. He's that $2 steak you talked about.
Yes. But he has lost 6 of his last 7. It's something, you know, he has to be honest with himself. If the wins aren't even, you know, coming infrequently, you have to look at that, and you don't want to get used up because you have a long life to live.
Good body shot, but this is what Marufo does. He takes 2, 3 to land 1, and every now and then he'll connect just like that hook from Marufo. They're winging punches here in the opening round.
Marufo's really loading up with that hook. And here's the thing, when you have a young, undefeated fighter, and you have a guy that knows his way around the ring, if you give him a little hope, Beto, he's like that ugly guy at the dance. If you don't tell him no, eventually he's going to get somebody to dance with him. Good finish from
Analogies of
Marufo.
Mike Rodriguez.
Absolutely.
Somebody's going to eventually dance with you?
What I like about initially what Pulpo was doing, he's got his hands up, but he starts to lean over a little bit, and he starts to lean in over a little bit into Marufo's left hook, even though he's landing some stuff. And I guarantee you, Beto, that's the first 3 times that he's been hit in a row in one round in his entire young career. Marufo knows how to cover. He knows what's coming. He knows there's a lot of heat coming behind those punches, but he says, you know what he does? He stays in the fight.
Number 2. Let's go.
Guys like Marufo, the backbone of boxing, right? They take on the young prospects. They give them the rugged looks. They give them the different opportunities. They give them different styles. And for a fighter like Aguilar, just like you mentioned, first time he's actually been hit. It's the first time he's been held like this, and now he's trading.
Absolutely, and like I mentioned earlier, Marufo has ended the undefeated record of about 4 different guys. It's been a while since he's done that, but man, he cannot miss with that left hook. And you got a grown man against a young kid, and sometimes that man strength, you know, there's a lot to be said about that. I'm only saying that because I'm going to be 60, so I'm hoping I still got a little bit of man strength left.
Well, we've seen the Instagram. There's a lot of man strength left.
Smoke and mirrors, man. I could use filters like a fat girl.
Yeah, but you can't use filters here because this is where Aguilar is finding out that, hey, in Culiacan against your earlier fighters, the guys are going to go down. Marufo is not going to go down from just one punch.
No, you're going to have to make him quit. You're going to have to make him quit. And as you can see, he's right there on Aguilar's chest, and both guys are trying to settle in to get their rhythm. But I think this fight is one big punch away from changing either way.
Yeah, for a fighter like
Yeah, and Aguilar, he needs to create space for himself because he's tall. He wants to get good leverage on his punches. And you don't want to be in range where a guy like Marufo, who's slinging those punches wildly, can end up landing something that changes the course of the fight. And it takes a lot of gas out of the gas tank.
Let those arms go.
Well, Panda, his trainer, was right. This is a fun action fighter, the 20-year-old. Mouthpiece goes flying again from an uppercut.
And you know what, Beto, that's not a case of a guy spitting his mouthpiece out. That's a case of a guy getting the mouthpiece knocked out of his mouth.
Number 2. One more time, I'm going to take a point on it.
See, I don't agree with that because he got clipped with a great left hook.
Yeah, it went halfway across the ring.
Yeah. It's not because Marufo wanted to stop fighting.
Let's go. Let's go.
See, now this is where that salty vet comes in. A guy like Marufo holding from the opposite side.
Absolutely. He's trying to buy himself a little bit of time. His face is starting to, take a little bit of worse for wear. He wasn't, Antonio Banderas or Mario Lopez when he stepped in there, my good friend Mario. But he's getting some leverage on his shots, and the reason he's able to do that is because Aguiar is squaring up a little bit, and he's going back in a straight line. And when a taller guy goes back in a straight line, they're a bigger target. And that's what's happening right now, is they're just giving and taking and taking and giving.
Yeah, Marufo winging shots, hoping he runs into one.
You know what? I think Aguiar could have better success if he started using the uppercut, because you have Marufo kind of bending over, and instead of trying to go over the top or to the side, take a half step back and shoot that right uppercut.
2 good rounds. Edward Rodriguez, Anthony Cardenas, and Christian Ayala in the corner of Marufo. And you're right, Frank Espinoza, Jacob Panda Nahar in the corner of Yair Aguiar. All right, tape has been fixed. Commission jumping on it right away. Good job.
And usually when you see Panda when he comes here from Mexico, he's usually got a really good charge under him.
Yeah.
I don't think he wants to travel just for anybody.
No, he travels everywhere, and I even asked him, hey, so you like Aguiar? He's had him since a kid. Turned pro with somebody else, came back to me, and he's like, yeah, I'm here because I like him. He has the potential.
Boy, Marufo really, he earns his money, and he makes you earn this money.
He'll wing shots just like that.
Yeah, and I think one thing that Aguiar really has to work on is he's a big target, Beto. He needs to get his shoulder pointed a little bit more and be less of a target, because he's taken a lot of unnecessary shots. All punches hurt, and believe me, as your career progresses, those things add up like pennies in a bank.
Yeah, Marufo doesn't have that power. Only 2 stoppages in his career of the 15 wins, but he is effective when he's landing those winged shots.
Yeah.
Lindsay Payares in the corner of young Jesus Aguiar. What is Panda saying, Lindsay?
Yeah, Panda, I asked him, what do you like about this fight so far? He said, nothing. Right now, Jesus, he wants him to be boxing a little bit more. He's definitely giving the fans a good show, but he doesn't want his fighters engaging this way.
You called them, Mike.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, believe me, I've worked thousands of corners, and you don't want your guy. You want your guy to do well. You want him in a fight, obviously, but you do not want them taking shots and punches that they shouldn't be taking, that their skill level doesn't warrant. And right now, he's a little fatigued. He's taking some shots, and you get a guy like I said, give a guy like Marufo hope, and he can change the whole career trajectory of this young man.
And that mouthpiece went out again.
1 point, mouthpiece. 1 point, mouthpiece.
So what this does now, it puts Marufo in a position, and he's fighting hard. But watch, you're going to see him now kind of go for broke to get some of that back.
David Sullivan had warned Marufo about the mouthpiece. They went out here in the 3rd round.
And remember, Beto, there's 2 places you don't want to run out of gas, right? You remember what those were?
I'm not going to answer that one, Mike. We're not too far from there.
Absolutely. 2 places you don't want to run out of gas, Lindsay, and that's in the ring and in Compton.
Or in general, in a car.
Anywhere.
Anywhere.
I would say the one that stretched from Baker to Vegas. That's where you don't want to run.
Okay.
Because there's nothing around there.
You guys are ruining my saying here. You guys are trying to be politically correct on a stream where we're allowed to cuss on a Saturday night.
You can cuss all you want. That's why you're the crime fighting cut man over 30 years at LA Sheriff's Department. We appreciate you, man.
Yeah, I just hit year 38 last Sunday.
Look, Marufo will not go away.
Free him up. Let's go.
At all.
If he could keep that mouthpiece in and maybe land 2 hooks in a row. Now if you notice, because Marufo's tired, you're starting to see Aguiar start to be a little bit more technically sound, but he's tired as well, and he's leaving himself really open for that hook.
That's a good round for Marufo, even though the point deduction.
Absolutely. It's a good fight. I mean, the fans are loving this fight. Like Lindsay said, I know Panda's not loving this, and I would be very stern with my guy in the corner if that was the case as well. And I think you're seeing that. He's got a little bit of blood in his nose. That breathing's, I'm not going to say labored, but he definitely knows he's in a fight. And as you can see here, both guys are just going left hook crazy. Good right uppercut. And I thought a round ago that the right uppercut was going to be something that he could land. But when he's falling over too much, he's got to stay a little bit smaller and not get so wide.
A good test for the young 20-year-old Jesus Aguilar making his U.S. debut at Culiacan, Mexico. 7-0, 6 KOs, but I would say, Mike, this is his real first fight.
Yes, and Marufo, despite his record, he's been in there with a lot of world-class fighters. It hasn't always gone his way. Most of the time it hasn't, but he's going to give you an honest day's work.
Anybody who has a tattoo that says boxer on their chest, you have to be careful with it.
Yeah, because when I told my dad as a kid that I wanted to be a boxer, he asked me, what do you want to do? You want to box peaches or plums? And now you can see that Aguilar is backing Marufo up, and he's starting to punch in range, which is really where he can be effective. So get Marufo at the end of his shots, and there's another right uppercut, and I like that. I just like to see him shorten it up, hide it behind a jab, and not be so square. But here's the thing, from where he comes from, there are fighters over there, and if you get hit, they are going to fight.
Marufo, if you look at his box rec, of his 17 losses, they're always against a fighter that is either undefeated, has one loss.
Absolutely. Like I said, I've seen him fight. I did some research. There's been no easy fights for him.
Work it out, guys.
And he's just used to it. He's battle tested.
Let's go. Let him go.
He's like scrap iron.
Oh, yeah.
And this is a good test to see where their young guy is, but he's getting hit a little too much for my liking.
Bring him up. Let's go. Work it out. Work it out, guys. Let him go.
Yeah, this is one where Panda's going to get some tape and go back and show his fighter, okay, this is why you listen to me in the gym when I tell you need a box. Not everybody's going to get knocked out. And young fighters fall in love with the KO, but they forget to box at times. And Pulpo Jr., if he was throwing that jab, it would be a lot easier for him tonight.
I don't think either guy has thrown one jab.
Oh, they didn't bring it.
I mean,
Those are optional.
They're leading every combination with the vaunted left hook.
Stop.
But I think if Pulpo threw a double right there, a jab right hand right down the pipe, that's a good left hook to the body. And now you can start seeing Maruf is taking a little bit of worse for wear, and he's starting to bend just a little bit. Because why? Because Aguilar is punching in range. And when you get a guy at the end of your shot, a la Tommy Hearns or Terrence Crawford, the punches are going to have more effect. And now that uppercut's coming in, and I'm sure that's something Panda told him in between rounds, because that's something that we noticed.
10 seconds, 10 segundos.
Final seconds of the fourth round.
Time!
When you work in the industry like you and I do, and we're here sometimes from the fight, obviously you from the fight's first start, you have a respect for these guys, because you know what? When things are in your favor, it's easy to do things whenever all the odds are stacked for you. I mean, some of these guys are even tougher than some of these world champions, because there's no odds stacked in their favor, and they will always get my respect and me to extend my hand to shake their hand.
Look, guys like a Marufo, those journeymen, those trail horses, they show up with the same trunks every fight. They don't have the glossy T-shirts. They don't have the team. Like a lot of times, they don't even have a corner.
Well, a guy out of Vegas, Cameron Creel.
Oh my goodness, he fights every 3 weeks, right?
And let me tell you something. Just like Marufo, he's beaten a few guys along the way, and he's been robbed a bunch of times in some fights. I saw a fight where they came in with a ski mask, duct tape, and a shotgun, and the judges robbed him.
Yeah, he's the king of the split decisions.
Absolutely. When you see a guy with like 4 draws, you know those are fights that he probably should have won.
Let him go.
So for the first time in his career, Aguilar in the 5th round. What are they saying in their corner, Lindsay Payares?
The strategy from Panda is pretty simple. Keep doing what you're doing. Continue the touches on the body. And ultimately, all you want to do is tire out Marufo, which it looks like he is a little bit.
Yeah, Malufo's mouthpiece hanging out. He is gassed, but he's just game still.
Yes, he is really tired. But because Aguiar is moving backwards, it's allowing Marufo to gain some steam and leverage on his punches. Where if he was getting pushed back with a good stiff double jab, he would not be able to do that as a good left hook to the body touch.
Again, only 20 years old, is in Pulpo Jr., and you have to go through these fights, have these kind of rounds, these kind of experiences if you want to get to the championship level. Because how many fighters have we seen, Mike, where they're 20-0, 18 KOs, and never been hit, step it up, and uh-oh.
And that's because every time a real opponent was offered to them and their management or the dad trainer, they turned it down. And that is not real development. And that is not something, we mentioned it before, that guys that like Top Rank with Bruce Trampler and Brad Goodman, that a recipe that they're going to cook with.
Show me something.
You hear referee telling him, show me something. That's 30 seconds to go in round 5. This is where the lungs are burning from Marufo. And if you're 20 years old, you better not be tired. You jump on it.
Absolutely. You know, he's tired. He's worked hard, though. He's thrown a lot of punches. He's taken a lot of punches. And he's looking to buy some time. That's what he's looking to do. A veteran's going to hold. He's going to look to buy some time. And it's up to Aguiar to not let him do that. There we go, some action right there. Marufo's still landing that left hook. I'd like to see Aguiar get away from that left hook. And they're basically just trading left hooks, except now the punches got with a lot more steam are Aguiar, and that right hand, as you see right there, when it comes extended like that at the end of a shot, it has a lot more effectiveness. Getting ready for round 6, the 6th and final round. They are going to touch him up, and I'm sure the crowd will be very appreciative of everything they've done in this fight, as Marufo buys himself a little more time as the mouthpiece was not ready to go.
That's a veteran move right there.
100% veteran move.
Oh, the mouthpiece, I forget. Oh, man.
I mean, the ref yells at you a little bit. I've had guys that with really bad cuts, and I tell my fighter, do not get up. Make them kick me out of the ring. If the ref needs to yell at me, that's fine, but sometimes I need an extra 2.5, 3 seconds, and if I got to do it, that's what I'm going to do.
So for the first time in his career, Jesus Aguiar is in the 6th round. New experience for him.
And Marufo looks like he's got a little burst of energy. Maybe, I'm not even going to say his 2nd win, Beto. He might be on his 3rd win.
Oh, right hand for Marufo. Again, do not look at a record. Respect everybody gets in that ring. They're tough, and here
he took a big
that's
shot.
A big shot from Pulpo Jr. Marufo against the ropes, trying to move around, trying to elude. And right now, if you're Pulpo, you got to just jump on him. And the salty vet is not doing anything, and he goes down.
I would have liked to see the referee count him.
The fight is over. A 6th-round stoppage for Jesus Aguiar, as Marufo just ran out of gas.
I'm always going to side on the air of caution on a referee, and I'm never going to criticize too much on a fighter's safety. And Marufo, what he should have done was just taken a knee if he wanted to continue. Yeah. And then he could have got an 8 count, and we could have got a proper assessment.
So 112 of the 6th round is the official stoppage for El Pulpo Jr. And then you see Marufo just trying to elude, but the referee's not going to let you do that. Referee's, if you're not throwing back, you got to do something.
Yes, and that's the thing, is you have to defend yourself at all times, and he was defenseless. So given the amount of punches that he did take during the fight, I'm not going to be critical of that. He's a good referee, and in the end, he's looking out for the fighter's safety. And we'd always rather have a fighter stop too soon than too late.
Absolutely. So whenever Lupe Contreras gets the official word, he can let us know the winner.
Inside the DMG boxing ring, a series of unanswered blows forces referee David Solivan to step in and call a halt to this contest. With an official time of 1 minute 12 seconds of round number 6, declaring the winner by way of knockout and still undefeated, El Pulpo Jr., Jesus Aguiar.
All right, he had to work for it. He's now 8-0 with 7 stoppages, a U.S. debut. I like what I see from the young 20-year-old.
Yes, and I think in the end he got the stoppage, so he keeps that momentum going. All's well that ends well, Beto. There's definitely some things that they can go back to the gym and work on, but that's what you want. You want a young guy that's still going to listen to his people and not really get too much into his own hype, because he's still developing and there's still a lot of work to be done. But like I always said, there's a lot to work on, but you know what? There's a lot to work with.
Yeah, he's got a real good corner, good management, so they can bring him along nicely. So 2 fights done. Coming up next, the Dominican Elvis Rodriguez, trained by Freddie Roach. Came out swinging right away, Mike. Exactly what we said. His trainer Panda said it was going to be a fan-friendly fight, and we got that.
Yeah, I think it was a little too much fan-friendly for Panda's liking and maybe into Pulpo's liking, but this is what Marufo does. He gives you an honest day. He puts in 8 hours. He gets 8 hours of pain. He gets 8 hours of work. But in the end, Pulpo's class showed out, and Marufo ran out of options, and now he's lost 7 to 8 fights. And, you know, I don't ever want to see a guy, you know, maybe stick around longer than he has to.